believes that he's on schedule for the July 1st completion date.
Awesome. And secondly, Brahim Krasnicki on 152 Talmadge Road.
152 Talmadge. What I'd like to do is draft a letter to the new owners and share that with commission members before the next meeting and get your feedback from it and send that out to them so that they're aware of where the wetland soils are on the property since there are new owners. And then the commission could entertain releasing the cease and desist that was issued to the previous owners. And
Sounds
I'll
good.
provide that for the meeting for next time.
Was there someone had a comment?
I said, it sounds good to me. As usual, staff is showing good wisdom in these things.
Thank you, Dr. Dimick.
Correct. Thank you. And
Now
third,
on.
Michael Antonetti on Carter Lane.
Yes, corrective order was issued and he has a completion date in June to get the wetland biologist to submit a restoration plan. And I have been in communication with him regarding this, and he indicated that he was already in touch with someone and aiming to be on target for that date set forward in the corrective order.
Thank you. And fourth, the topic of a show cause hearing tonight, Michael and Amanda Clay on Trout Brook Road.
Yes, our office received 2 complaints having to do with trees that were being cut within a wetland area. And observing the property and looking at the soils map, the area which showed that there was recent activity, there's hay on the ground now, and I can share a photo of that. It's all located within a wetland area. And so a cease and desist order was sent out. First, I will share with you the cease and desist order that was sent out, which commission members have a copy of. At the very bottom, there is a portion of the soils map that shows wetland soils on the property, which are in the solid. And the area surrounding is the upland review area. And if we look at the aerial photograph of this property from 2019, it shows a wooded area where the cutting has recently taken place. Now, observing from the road, I can share with the commission a photo that shows that there are still trees that are standing. So it's not that the entire area has been cleared, but there is recent work done. I'm sorry, let me try to. This is in the same wetland area. You can see recent activity here. There's some straw down, and there is a footbridge here that crosses over the watercourse. So on the call tonight is Mr. Michael Clay, who's the owner of the property that I've been in touch with via email. So he is on the call to have further discussion with the commission. Hello, Mr. Clay.
Hi, how's everybody doing?
Good.
Well, thank you.
So should I just explain our situation here, or did you guys have questions? I'm not sure what route
Yes,
we go here.
If you could just explain what took place, what the sequence was of the steps that you took, and what the end goal was of what it is that you're trying to achieve.
Sure, absolutely. So, I mean, to be completely honest, we were a bit shocked to get the letter. We didn't know we were doing anything wrong here. We didn't know we needed approval, and we thought we were improving the situation, to be completely frank, and I'll get into that in a second. So the situation was we were seeing falling trees, we were seeing dead trees, and that's what was removed. There's a lot of dead trees and falling trees, which we took out. And our biggest concern really as a result of that was the waterway was getting really clogged up. There was branches, there was debris. The bushes that you pointed to were becoming overgrown and actually in the water, blocking the water. So the levels were rising and we were seeing a little erosion as well in the land. So The blocking flow was really what was bothering us, and we thought we should address it. No one else was. It's our property. We didn't realize it was not our responsibility to do that. So that was our thinking. We didn't want to do it ourselves, so we hired a company to come in. We asked for some advice on what we should do there. They suggested remove the dead trees, remove the falling trees, get rid of the overgrown bushes. The grass that we're planting that you pointed to is not along the waterway, it's away from the waterway, as you kind of can see in that picture. It sounds like that's still in an area it shouldn't be, maybe. So we'll have to get your advice on that. But again, that's not right up against the waterway by any means. The bridge is just a generic wooden bridge. We have little kids, you know, we own the other side of the property too. So the idea there was, instead of having some pieces of wood for them to cross, we just put something a little safer there.
The problem is
So
none of this should have been done without a permit from the Wetlands Commission to do it. And we could, if we wanted to, issue an order to make you put it all back the way it was, including the dead trees. Obviously, we're not going to do that. But really, everything you did is in serious violation of the ordinances which are based on state law.
I appreciate that. Now that's something that I'm going to have to plead ignorance to. I didn't know. In fact, I actually kind of frustrated with myself, went back through all of our paperwork from settlement. Again, we're from Pennsylvania. We just moved up here a few years ago. I went through everything I could find to try and find some evidence that we missed, that we should have known better. And I couldn't find anything. In fact, the only thing I found that mentioned wetlands was the survey filled out by the previous owner, and they checked no to wetlands. That the property was not on wetland property. So maybe we should have known that there's a waterway, so it's on wetlands. Maybe we should have known that. I didn't know. I mean, we just had no idea we were doing the wrong thing. We thought we were doing the right thing.
The waterway is also regulated under the same set of regulations. It's a failure of the lawyer that you had for your closing. The lawyer should have brought all of these things to your attention, because they are limitations on what you can do with the property. And I don't know how your lawyer failed you in doing this, but the blame starts there, that you bought a piece of property that had restrictions and your lawyer did not point them out to you.
I have a question. Excuse me, it's Tom Norberg back here. Suzanne, the waterway as it's being referred to now, what kind of a water course is that? Is that a drainage swale, or is that a continuation of a stream or something?
It's a continuous water course that starts on a different property and goes through this property and then, you know, finds its way onto other properties. So
So it's an actual it's a water course.
It's a defined waterway, yes.
And is it always active, or is it seasonal?
I believe it's always active.
I have seen that in flood when it's gone over the bank.
Okay.
Likely.
I'm just looking for some
Yeah,
perspective here. And then my next question would be, if I can address Mr. Clay, just to help to clarify, do you have any pictures of the property, the area in question prior to your work out there? It just might give us some sense of what you started with and what you ended up with.
I think I have a few I could probably send you guys. We took a couple right when they started. I'm sure I could find a few others from before.
Is that a reasonable request, Suzanne? And
It is, yes.
all right, it just might help lend some perspective to the whole, genesis of your, your project there.
Sure. Yeah, I can do that. I believe I have some from, when the water was getting backed up because there was so much debris in there. The one thing when I got the letter, the first thing I thought was, I wish I took pictures of all the bushes in the water blocking the waterway. That's probably the big mistake I made. But I think I have some from when the water was starting to rise.
Whatever you got, it might just help us.
Sure.
Clarity.
Mr. Clay, do you have an estimate of how many trees were removed?
That's a good question.
I know we only removed trees that were either dead or unsafe.
Yeah, maybe 8 to 10. I mean, some of them were really thin, like just they were completely dead. There was nothing on them and they were falling apart. That's kind of why
Yeah.
we had
So
them
some
taken
of them
out.
were small diameter trees.
Oh, yes, pretty much
Yeah,
pretty
there
much all of
wasn't-
them were.
Yeah.
Yes.
If I
And a
could
lot
put
of them were
the-
a lot of them were already broken or hanging.
If I could put the photo back up.
I'm kind of looking for what kind of overall vegetation it had there. Was it overgrown or was it a manicured area?
It's not manicured.
It was not manicured at all. In fact, it's a lot like the bushes that we left in the back. So if you see the back area there where
Yeah.
the cursor is
This?
right now, it was a lot like that.
All right.
Okay, so that would have then filled in this understory here?
Correct.
Okay, because from here, it seems as though where you have this birch tree, it's likely that there would not have been opportunity for other trees to necessarily be growing right in the immediate area unless they were small diameter trees.
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
everything was choked out from vines too. That was another.
Yeah, it was in rough shape. And again, our thought was we should take care of this. You know, it's on our property, it's our responsibility. I wish I knew. Honestly, I've been even before we got the letter, I'm thinking, who can I talk to about this to know what should we grow? What should we do to preserve it going forward? And it's kind of a blessing in disguise that we're talking to you guys because we could use that advice.
You know, the town of Cheshire has come in front of us when they've had that problem with some drainage, because they need a permit from us also before they do this sort of thing. And if brush is actually choking the flow of a stream, then it has been usually that we have allowed the permit to clear a certain amount of vegetation to allow free flow of water, but not the clear cutting like that. Among other things, that stream, as small as it is, actually has small fish in it, or did at one time. And the shading effect of the vegetation on the banks keeps the water cool, which protects the fish. So there's an ecological reason for having vegetation near the stream, but obviously in the stream, it impedes the flow of water. So
And
What
Mr.
type of-
Clay, the bridge that was installed there, is that a bridge that is just placed in the landscape, or is it anchored in? Did you have to construct anything in order to install that?
It's not just sitting there. Someone put it in for us, so I'm not sure exactly what route they took to put it in place. But it's basically just wood panels across, and obviously there's a railing there, so nobody falls in or anything like that.
So was it constructed on site?
Yes.
did you-
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
No, I wouldn't mind taking a field trip out there myself, and if we could get some pictures of the prior condition, that would be a big help.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
Mr. Clay,
Is that a reasonable request, Suzanne?
would you be okay with having members just stop by the house and just take a peek and see what that area in the yard looks like?
Sure. I'd love that. I'd like to know if we did the right thing for at least part of the way. It looks like we didn't do the whole thing right, and what we could do to fix it up and make sure that it's in good shape going forward.
I'm trying to remember the condition of that land when we first approved that subdivision. But that was, gosh, at least 35 years ago, I guess, and my memory's a little faint on that. I did go over the whole property at that time. That stream, and there's a parallel stream on the other side of your subdivision there, join further down and eventually get all the way down and enter the Quinnipiac River. But there's a couple of sites just downstream from there that did have flooding problems at one time at some of the road intersections. We may have some data on that.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely it was rising higher than we liked, and it rained a lot these past few days, and it was flowing well. So I was feeling pretty good about it. So what we did, getting all them branches and bushes out of there. But again, you guys are the experts, so whatever we need to do.
One of the things to consider, if you make it too easy for the water to flow, the properties downstream that are already having flooding problems will have worse flooding problems, because a certain amount of upstream retention of water cuts down on the amount of flooding downstream. And we did have a protest, and this was many years ago, in front of the Wetlands Commission of a downstream owner complaining that upstream development was causing his flooding to be worse. So,
Fair enough.
All right, well, I'd like to take a look at it before I weigh in much more.
yeah,
I
I
think
agree.
there's enough, we've heard enough to know that there was a violation and Suzanne's action was certainly warranted. I don't know if we need a motion for that, but we also need some time to take a look at it. And our next meeting, we can make recommendations as to what should be done to fix it up, clean it up, straighten it out, whatever we're going to decide. Do we need a motion, Suzanne,
Move to
to
declare-
Yes,
approve your actions?
yes.
Yeah. Move to declare that from the show cause hearing, we have seen that there was a violation and staff was correct in her actions in issuing a cease and desist.
Moved by Dr. Dimick. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Will McPhee. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimously by those commission members present. So I think what we'll do is, those of us who want to go out and take a look, we'll do that. And by our next meeting, we should be able to make recommendations as what should be done regarding this piece of property. What
You'll
did I
send
leave
us
out,
contact
Suzanne?
information?
Did I miss anything?
Tom, were you saying
Okay.
something?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just, you'll let us know how to contact Mr. Clay?
Well, Mr. Clay, do commission members have permission to just stop by, or would you prefer that they contact you first?
I'm here every day during the day, working from home for the most part, so they can stop by if they like, and feel free to give me a heads up or ring the doorbell or whatever you would like to do, and I'd be happy to come out and show you around.
Okay,
All right, thanks.
very good, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, and thank you very much, Mr. Clay.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Anything else
Everybody have a
regarding
good night.
this? Anything else
No, not at
regarding
this time, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. We'll go on to new business. We have a request for determination from EG Home LLC regarding Dickerman Road. I have curiosity about that, but who is representing the applicant, please, or the requester?
For the record, it's Anthony Fazzone. And on the meeting tonight is Matthew Gilchrist of EG Home, who I would like the opportunity to introduce himself and introduce his company. Followed, then Darren Overton is on to go over the activity or lack of activity. And I believe, Darren, that Matt Sanford is on or was going to be on.
Yes.
Yep. And he did the field, the wetlands markings are going back to see if the prior wetlands markings were still valid. As you know, this piece of property has been before the commission on several occasions, including plans to cross the river with a sanitary sewer system, and prior to that, building a bridge for actual vehicle traffic across the bridge. And this particular application is confined to the western side of the river. And with that, I'll ask Mr. Gilchrist to identify himself and tell you a little bit about EG Home.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Matt Gilchrist. I'm a half owner of EG Home. My co-owner is David Earp. He actually is not a Connecticut resident. He's a longtime, lifelong friend. We served in the United States Navy together. Um, EG Home has been a home builder in Connecticut since 2013. My wife is originally from Prospect. We live in Middlebury, Connecticut right now. We started the company with our first development, which is Chatfield Farms, which is just down the road, just down 42 from Cheshire in Beacon Falls, which is an active adult development. Since then, we've had 3 other developments underway. Right now, we just purchased 2 others in the state, and we're extremely excited to be coming to Cheshire with this development. We've been working with Paul Bowman and his team to negotiate our development of what's called Section 7 of the overall master plan, where we're looking to approve and build 140 townhomes with a mixture of duplexes and fourplexes, offering both master up and master down bedroom configurations. So, we're excited to be here. We're excited to be coming to your town. We look forward to being a part of your community. And if anybody has any questions for me, I'd be glad to answer them now, or we can wait till the end.
I just got a chance to look at these when I got in this evening, because I have been out of state. But partly, there is drainage from this development heading in that direction of these wetlands. Is that the case?
Yes, sir. I'm going to let Darren go ahead and present all the technical stuff. Darren, are you ready to go?
Yes. So Dr. Dimick, that's correct. We do have a water quality basin that will drain in the area of that stream channel. It's going to have a level spreader overflow. It's also near the outlet of the bypass channel that's out there.
Okay, and is that taking drainage from the entire development, or just from that one section of it?
Just that one section, the cul-de-sac. The majority of the development drains towards that low point in the middle. Let me share my screen a minute. So let me know when that comes up.
All right.
So this is an overall existing conditions plan. You saw this as part of the special development plan.
Yeah.
The 10-mile river here in blue, entering the site from the south, flowing through the middle of the site where we have the stone arch culvert and deep pool, and then running in a northeasterly direction out off the property into Southington and towards the Quinnipiac River. So this is the water course that was really the subject of Mr. Sanford's wetland impact assessment. This water course, you can see, comes up through here. It wraps around the Rivercrest development, and then it kind of disappears. The majority of the water that drains into here, I think, is mostly drainage off of 322, because the water course doesn't seem to continue much further than this. And in Matt's report, you'll see that when he was out there, there were some pools of water and some areas where the water was running, but it wasn't continuous flow up through here. So on this map, the wetlands are highlighted in kind of this yellow-green here, and then this heavy yellow dashed line is the actual floodplain. So there's some high points in the middle here, floodplain that comes through here, and then there's this low area on site that only in the new FEMA mapping does this show as 100-year floodplain. There's actually a low area here. It rises up here. And honestly, I don't think that the water ever rises up enough here to actually go overcome the high point and into this. But nonetheless, we're not going to challenge the FEMA mapping. We've accepted it, and we're leaving this as an open park area. So any questions on the existing conditions here?
I think that's clear enough. So the part you're going to put the cul-de-sac in is roughly where on this before we look at the other map?
So the lot 7 is basically the western portion of the property, which is the west side of the river. Majority of the development is in here, and there's a main access drive that comes in, follows the route of the existing trail through here for the most part. Yeah. And the cul-de-sac extends out here. It sits above the bypass channel, which is here. Cul-de-sac ends about in this location. And then this is too low. We'd have to buck grade back here to drain back here. And
Mhm.
besides, it drains in this direction anyway. So we have a water quality basin you'll see in here. So there's a little bit of impact for grading of the cul-de-sac and the stormwater quality basin. It sits right in between this area.
A very minor part of the entire proposed development then. By the way, I recognize that low spot, that new floodplain area. That was when they had the sand and gravel operation there. That's they dug deeper than usual in that area.
Yeah, I
That's-
didn't go back and look at the historical aerials. We did it one time, but yeah,
Yeah.
this is clearly a excavation area historically.
We walked that with the original proposal way back when for that parcel.
Yes, so what's coming up now is just a blow up of the actual Lot 7 development area itself.
Uh-huh.
It's loading awful slowly. So this has the actual boundary of Lot 7, which is highlighted in the yellow here. Shows the floodplain here, the 100-year and 500-year floodplain. Not sure why that's regenerating. It's funny, my kids aren't even home and the internet's slow tonight. So again, just the blow up of the area associated with Lot 7. So I think what I'm going to do, if we're done with this, I'm going to close these things up. And next we have a rendering of the proposed development, or actually the master plan for the site. This is what you saw for the special development plan. So this shows kind of how at one point we had a concept here for mixed residential development that had a couple different styles of units, duplex, single units, and then some more high density type of fourplex or larger units over in this area in the northwest part of the site. What's actually proposed now is a mix of fourplex townhome units and duplex units. So there isn't that intense grouping that we had shown in the original master plan. So there's a total of 140 residential units that are proposed. 14 of them are the fourplex units, which you'll see are located in this area here and then along here. These are townhome style units that have a garage under and living space above. The duplex units have ground floor living as well as second floor space, and they have garages also on the lower level. So you can see on this also, we have the stormwater, essentially all the grading all drains towards the 10-mile river. And what we've done here is we've put some intermediate basins. These green areas are the stormwater management areas. So what comes off the upper road here, we pick up and treat here. That then overflows, and we have a secondary basin here, another one here. So the majority of this development out to the roundabout, the drainage all gets picked up and goes through a series of these basins. And then there's a large level spreader that allows it to sheet flow through here and eventually make its way into the 10-mile river. And then we have this area where the cul-de-sac extends out, and we have one more basin here that treats the roadway and the runoff from some of the roof leaders. We have the cul-de-sac here, and then you see here is the 50-foot upland review area in the pink. That's a 50-foot offset from the green wetland delineation. And you see we have a hatched area here of about 0.18 acres of upland review area impact associated with that unnamed tributary. So there's only a small portion of this that will be part of the paved cul-de-sac. The rest will be area that will be vegetated. Some of this will be replanted. A lot of this over here, Matt probably saw it in more detail in the field than I did, but it's a lot of regrowth of multiflora rose and also our favorite autumn olive out there in many areas. So some of this will revegetate. We'll plant this mostly with grasses as far as the basin. This is intended to be kind of a bioretention basin, as all of them are, because we do have very good sand and gravel soils. So we're going to promote infiltration in these basins as much as we can. So just to sum up, there's no direct wetland disturbance. I'll switch to our site grading plan, which was in the packet. You can see the actual grading associated with the cul-de-sac. And I've just highlighted here the one area of pavement that's in the upland review area in yellow. So no direct wetland disturbance, about 0.18 acres of upland review area disturbance, and most of that will remain vegetated. So if anyone has any questions or you'd like me to go back to any of the graphics and go over anything, I'd be happy to do so.
So you've got both a request for determination, and if we do determine, then you've also got a permit application filed. So I think our job here is to try to determine whether your activities are going to require any sort of a permit, or whether we decide that its disturbance is so minimal that it will not need a permit. I'm on the fence on this. I don't know about the rest of the commission.
I personally have no problem with it. I'm just curious as to if we do our job properly, it makes it easier for planning and zoning to build on that and determine the actual approval of the development by making a determination without a permit. Are we weakening the position of planning and zoning to continue to build on it and make a decision on the development?
Well, I
Mr.
agree, Earl,
Chairman.
it's cleaner if there's an actual permit in hand from us, that's one thing they can check off and not have to worry about. But it comes close to being a de minimis, but I think everybody's better off if we do issue a permit just for that particular part of the activity.
Well, Mr. Chairman, when it comes to planning and zoning's connection to the Wetlands Commission, when the commission takes action, whether it's a determination or whether it's a permit that's issued, I report that to the Planning and Zoning Commission. So in the case of a request for determination, the Planning and Zoning Commission doesn't treat it any differently than a permit. So it would just be indication that the commission viewed the proposed activities and found that a permit is not needed. But that still counts as an action that the commission is taking. And Attorney Fazone.
Thank you. That makes it clear to me. Thank you.
Attorney Fazone, you're in agreement with that a determination is still an action by the commission?
Yes, and the statutes require for plan and zoning to act, the wording used is a report from the Wetlands Commission, and typically the report would say, and this happens frequently in planning and zoning applications where the commission so determines, the report is just that the Wetlands Commission has determined, and if you want to use the word de minimis, that an application and a permit is not necessary in this particular case. I don't think having it done by motion for determination impedes the Planning and Zoning Commission at all.
And all the plans you outlined for us would become a part of the determination that you don't need an application. It would still be something that will be included in the activities.
Yeah, the plans are, Darren, correct me if I'm wrong, the plans are exactly the same. Planning and zoning will see these. They'll, part of their jurisdiction, which I think this commission has noted in the past, includes the erosion and sedimentation control. So, you know, that would be taken care of at that point in time. And this will all be reviewed by the consulting town engineer.
Sounds good. Suzanne, is that enough information for you to write the, what Attorney Fazone referred to as the report to the P and Z?
Yes, after pretty much every meeting, I submit a report to the Planning and Zoning Commission that indicates what actions were taken. And so if a request for determination, if it was determined tonight that a permit is not needed, the site plans that the commission has reviewed will be cited in the letter sent to the requester and a copy provided to Planning and Zoning so that everyone can see what the commission reviewed, what the date and the title of the document is, and they are then required to adhere to those plans.
Suzanne, if they don't need a permit, are you still able to inspect, is it still incumbent upon you to inspect erosion controls and whatnot, or does that still stay within your purview? Or who is going to be inspecting them if we're not asking them to get a permit?
Well, I would do at least one initial inspection, but I would not be monitoring like after every rain event when the standard language that the commission issues after a rain event. I would not be doing that. So if the commission was interested in having a stipulation, that's something that has to be done
With a
as
permit?
part of a permit. That can't be done as part of a determination.
And then one would assume that it can also not be done by us requesting anything because they're not asking for a permit. So we request inspections by a third party if we don't permitted. Is that true?
When it comes to a request for determination, the commission cannot stipulate anything to say, sure, you can go ahead and do this, but you need to have this inspected. The commission can't do that. There can be no stipulations. There can only be stipulations when there's a permit. Now, the commission may entertain if the applicant or the requester in this case wanted to make that part of the record where they offered to do the erosion control inspections and that they offered to adhere to the standard that the town has, which is before every storm or after every storm of a ½ inch or greater, or once a week, whichever is first. If they wanted to make that part of the record, the commission could entertain doing that, and then they would be required to do that because they offered it as part of their overall plan.
Suzanne, I have a question.
Yes.
In those instances where there are a wetlands permit is not required, but there obviously erosion and sedimentation controls are up, do they not get inspected by the engineering department?
That I don't know. I know that we require the inspection prior to getting a building permit, so then I would go out and do the inspection then. The engineering department, I don't know that they inspect for erosion controls. And I haven't really heard from them going out to sites and then reporting back what they find for erosion control. So I don't know if they observe it and just keep that information in their records. That I don't know.
I would pass then your comment and question along to Mr. Gilchrist, whether or not the applicant would agree on the record to have you perform inspections on a regular basis.
To have me perform
I
inspections?
think we need
Or
the
have some-
engineering firm too. They need to report it.
No, whatever the standard is.
Officers, Amber Alert.
Amber alert.
Yep. Sorry.
So if I could just say that we are going to disturb over 5 acres on this, so we will fall under the construction stormwater general permit with DEEP, which has similar requirements to the town's inspection requirements. So we'll be following that. There will be weekly inspections after rainfalls. There'll be weekly and after rainfall events. So that'll be done. It'll be logged and kept on site. as part of the DEP permit, and it will be available for Suzanne to come out and view at any time.
Darren, is that part of this site plan? Is that referenced anywhere in the language on this site plans?
I believe it is on the notes in on the title sheet.
You could enlarge that on the screen, please.
I gotta find it first.
I've got to pose this while Darren's doing that. I want to pose this question to the committee. I don't recall ever not requiring a permit for such a development for even cul-de-sac or any type of impact, just because, in my opinion, we're limiting our powers, if you will, like Earl was saying. And my fear is if this was to get moved or something else were to change, that because we have basically declared this de minimis, then perhaps the changes would happen without us even knowing, where it would have to come back to us for an application or a permit modification. Is that true or not, Suzanne?
That if they made changes that they wouldn't have to come back?
Yeah, if the overall impact to the upland review didn't change, but they moved the cul-de-sac 50 feet to the left or right, because we've already determined it de minimis, I mean, are they going to come back for us?
They
Or
would be required to come back because that's a change. So anything that deviates from the plan that's in front of the commission right now is something that would have to come back.
Right. Okay. I personally just feel that a permit should be required just because of it is in the upland review area. Although I have no problem with it, I just think it's cleaner for all parties. And it's just also more consistent with what we've done in the past. That's my opinion, to our commission members.
I more or less agree with you, Will, and with this particular combination of people doing this, I have no worries. But, consistency is important, and we have certainly required a permit. The potential impact here is relatively small, and as I said originally, it verges on de minimis. But with a project like this, we're probably, I feel we're safer requiring a permit. But I think we could pretty much assure the applicant that a permit will be issued and it will have relatively few restrictions on it. It is consistent with past usage to do that.
Completely agree, and it's a nice way of saying it, Charles, with regards to the folks involved here. I really have no concern at all. It's just a matter of what we do for one, we need to do for all as a commission, and I think we've done this in the past, and I think we just need the consistency there.
So Suzanne, we don't
Any other comments?
necessarily spell out inspections on here. We do note on the E&S plan that the deep general permit is required, and the development is subject to all requirements of that permit, which the inspections are part of it.
Any other comments?
I think I'm agreeing with Will.
Is there a motion to determine
I move that
the
commission,
request?
having considered the entire project, has determined that a permit will be required for the work concerning this cul-de-sac on the eastern end.
I'll second that.
Moved by Dr. Dimick, seconded by Will McPhee. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried unanimously by those commission members present. A permit will be required for this project. In
I
that,
also suggest that we have enough information that we can instruct staff to draw up language that we can vote on the permit at the very next meeting.
hi, Tim. Sounds good to me. Suzanne, do you have enough information to do what you need to do?
Yes. And Darren, if you would be able to add a note about the inspection reports, I think that would be helpful.
Sure, that'd be fine.
Any comments by anyone else?
Nope.
Okay, we know what's gonna happen. We know the direction. Suzanne knows what to do.
Yes.
I think this matter has been decided upon for this evening.
Thank you
Thank
for your
you,
time tonight.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Okay.
Is there any further business to come before the commission?
No.
Awesome. Anybody have anything to say?
Supper's on the
Good night.
stove.
Thank you for your consideration, and we look forward to seeing the motion for approval.
Good parting comment. Okay. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Seeing no further business coming before the commission, I'll adjourn the meeting at 8:22.
Thank
Night.
you.
Okay.
Have a
Good
good
night,
Night,
everyone.
Good night.
Good evening.
Can you hear me?